You just told them too much. You felt it the moment the words left your mouth, that hollow, exposed feeling. Like you handed someone a key to a door you never meant to open. You do this. You fill silence with yourself. You explain when no one asked. You confess when no one interrogated. And every single time, they use it. Think about the last conversation where you overshared. Someone at work. A person you were trying to impress. A moment you wanted to feel close. You gave them ammunition, and they smiled and nodded and filed it away. Right now, today, you are losing ground. Not in some distant future. Right now, every unnecessary word you speak reduces your power. Every secret you share becomes someone else's leverage. You were taught that openness is a virtue, that vulnerability is strength, that talking is connection. They lied to you. And because of that lie, you have been bleeding power your entire adult life. Your plans, your fears, your desires, your weaknesses. You broadcast them. You think people appreciate your honesty. What they actually do is use your honesty as a map to everything they need to control you. But there is a man who knew the answer to this 400 years ago. A Jesuit priest who wrote in secret because what he discovered was too dangerous for the powerful to let people know. His name was Baltasar Gracián, and today you learn his rules. Stay, watch, because everything you are about to hear in the next 10 minutes will permanently change the way you move through the world, and you will never unsee it. You think silence is passive. Silence is weakness. Silence is what people do when they have nothing to say. You are wrong. Silence is the most powerful language ever spoken, and the man who masters it cannot be defeated. The art of silence, the philosophy of strategic withholding, the weapon you already own but have never learned to use. This is Gracian. This is power. You were not born broken. You were not born weak. You were trained to be open. You were rewarded for sharing. Teachers praised you for raising your hand. Therapists told you to express yourself. Parents said, honesty builds trust. And you believed them. Of course you believed them. They were the only reality you had. And in small, safe moments with people who truly loved you, openness worked. It felt like warmth. It felt like belonging. So your brain registered it as truth, as the way the world works, as what being human means. But then you stepped into the world, into workplaces, into power structures, into social hierarchies, and the rules changed. But nobody told you the rules changed. They kept letting you play the old game while they played a completely different one. The problem is not your personality. The problem is not that you are too sensitive, or too honest, or too trusting. The problem is that you were never taught the game. They kept you illiterate on purpose. An open person is an easy person to manage. Systems, social systems, corporate systems, political systems are built on information asymmetry. The people at the top know more than you. They hide more than you. They reveal strategically. And they have always known that those who speak freely give power away for free. The people who encouraged your openness, have you noticed they are not open themselves? Your manager who told you to be transparent watches what they say in every meeting. The friend who urged you to share your plans keeps theirs completely private. This is not accidental. You are not in a family anymore. You are not in a classroom. You are in an arena. And in an arena, information is not connection. Information is currency. And you have been giving yours away every single day. What Gracian understood and what you are about to understand is that silence is not absence. It is presence controlled. A man who controls his output controls his image. A man who controls his image controls his power. And a man who controls his power cannot be defeated. everything you were taught about communication, reconsider it. Not because talking is wrong, but because undisciplined talking is surrender. And you have been surrendering, piece by piece, your entire life. From this moment forward, you do not speak to fill silence. You speak with purpose. Everything changes when you understand that silence is a strategy, not an absence. Your power begins in what you do not say. History is full of the most powerful figures being the most silent. Julius Caesar was famous for listening 10 times more than he spoke. Queen Elizabeth I was called the Virgin Queen partly because her emotional interior was a vault no one could open. Sun Tzu's first law was concealment. But this is not only for kings and generals. This is for every negotiation, every difficult conversation, every room you walk into where the stakes are real. You do not have to be famous for silence to change everything. You only have to be deliberate. And here is what they never told you about constant talking. It does not make you more known. It makes you more predictable. Predictable people are manageable people, and manageable people are never feared, never truly respected, and never truly free. You have two choices. Stay the open, predictable, exploitable version of yourself that the world has conditioned you to be, or learn what Gracian learned and become someone the world cannot read, cannot predict, and cannot defeat. The man who showed the world this path lived in 17th century Spain. He was a Jesuit priest. He was censored. He was disciplined by his own order, because what he wrote was too true and too powerful to be safely in the hands of ordinary people. His name was Baltasar Gracián, and he is about to speak to you directly. Baltasar Gracián, born 1601, Aragon, Spain, a Jesuit of extraordinary intelligence who spent his life studying how power actually works, not how it claims to work, but how it truly operates beneath the surface of ceremony and politeness. Gracian wrote his masterwork, The Art of Worldly Wisdom, under a false name. He was forbidden from publishing by the Jesuit order. When his identity was discovered, he was punished. Bread and water, public humiliation, the suppression of his writing. The powerful do not like it when their secrets are made plain. His work survived. It reached the courts of Europe. Nietzsche called him the most instructive moral psychologist in history. Napoleon kept a copy. Schopenhauer translated it. This was not philosophy for the classroom. This was philosophy for the battlefield of real life. And here is what Gracian wrote. Listen carefully. Let it land. Never open yourself to what you need not, for what you tell will be used against you in ways you could not predict. The wise man does not speak. He listens, observes, and keeps within himself the reservoir from which all power flows. Feel the weight of that. Within yourself is a reservoir. Every time you speak without necessity, you drain it. Every time you hold silence, you fill it. You have been draining yours your entire life. Today that ends. Here are Gracian's rules for the art of silence. Gracian did not believe silence was emptiness. He believed silence was architecture. You do not build a fortress by leaving walls open. You build it by knowing exactly where to close every gate. These lessons are that architecture. These lessons are your gates. Never speak more than the situation demands. Every additional word you add beyond what is necessary is a subtraction from your authority. The surgeon does not explain his tools to the patient. The judge does not justify his verdict to the defendant. Power speaks once and is believed. You know this feeling. You are in a meeting. Someone questions your decision. And instead of simply maintaining your position, you explain. Then you justify. Then you over-explain. And the more you talk, the smaller you become. You started with authority and talked your way out of it. This happens because of a cognitive law. Justification signals doubt. When you justify without being asked, you are unconsciously broadcasting that you are uncertain of your position. The listener registers it not as honesty but as weakness. Their brain marks you as someone whose authority can be questioned. Starting today, when you feel the urge to explain. Stop after your first sentence. Let the silence sit. Do not fill it. The discomfort you feel in that silence is not danger. It is your old training conflicting with your new power. Sit in it. Let them be the one who speaks next. If this is already resonating, if you are already thinking of the specific moments in your life where you spoke when you should have stayed silent, drop this in the comments right now. I speak less, I take more. Let me know you are here. Never show your full self to anyone. Not your full desires, not your full fears, not your full ambition, not your full contempt. The moment someone has a complete picture of your interior, they have a complete map to control you. Mystery is not a romantic concept, it is structural protection. You have shared your dreams with people. Your goal to start a business, your desire for a promotion, your financial situation, your relationship problems, and subtly, not always with bad intent, people use this. They place you. They limit you in their minds. They stop seeing possibility in you and start seeing a defined thing they can manage. The psychology here is called the social categorization effect. Once someone categorizes you in any way, their brain stops updating their model of you. They stop seeing you as dynamic. They start treating you as fixed. Every secret you keep preserves your ability to surprise them, and surprise is power. Starting today, when someone asks what you are working on, what you want, where you see yourself answer partially, give them the layer they need for the conversation. Keep the deeper layer entirely private, not as deception, as protection. This knowledge is for protection, not destruction. The most powerful people in any room are always the least known, not the most gregarious, not the most transparent. The ones who carry their interior like a closed book with a beautiful spine. Everyone wants to open it. Let silence do the work that words cannot. In negotiation, in confrontation, in any moment of tension, the first person to speak loses. Silence applies pressure that no sentence can match. It forces the other person to reveal themselves. Every second of silence you hold is a second they are working to fill. You ask for a raise. Your manager hesitates. You, trained to smooth over silence, immediately soften your ask. You add caveats. You offer compromises you never planned to offer. You just negotiated against yourself. Because silence made you afraid, and your fear cost you the outcome. This is driven by a primate fear of social rejection. Silence in a social context triggers the same part of the brain that processes physical danger. Your nervous system experiences silence as threat. But what your nervous system registers as danger is actually an opportunity. Train yourself to sit in it. Comment right now, silence is my negotiation. Because the next time you are in a conversation where pressure is building, your new move is silence. 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 if you can hold it. Watch what they give you. Starting today, every great negotiator in history has understood this. Your silence says, I am not afraid of this moment. I do not need this more than you do. I am the one with options. Those 3 unspoken sentences change everything. No words required. Explanation is the enemy of power. When you explain your reasoning, you invite debate. When you invite debate, you make your position provisional. Provisional positions are weak positions. The general does not explain his strategy to the troops before battle. He gives the order. You make a decision. Someone questions it. And you explain your entire thought process, every consideration, every trade-off, every doubt you had before deciding. Now they are inside your reasoning. They find a crack. They push on it. And your decision, which was correct, gets reversed because you showed them the architecture. This is the paradox of transparency. The more you explain, the less you are trusted. Explanation signals that you are not certain. Your decision speaks for itself. Certainty that needs no explanation reads as competence. Explanation that needs to convince reads as anxiety. And anxiety is the smell of someone who can be moved, Starting today, when you make a decision, state it simply. If pressed for explanation, give 1 sentence maximum, then stop. Do not be drawn into defending your reasoning with volume. Your position is your position. The confidence of your stillness will do more than any explanation ever could. The most powerful answer to why did you do that is not an explanation. It is a quiet look that says, because I decided to. That single expression contains more authority than a paragraph of reasons. Practice it until it is effortless. The man who speaks first in any room gives away the most. Before you open your mouth in any new situation, observe. Watch who defers to whom. Watch who fills silence and who generates it. Watch who others watch. The map of the room's power structure reveals itself in seconds if you are quiet enough to read it. Drop in the comments, I am the destination, not the pursuit. Because what we are building here is not someone who chases validation by speaking. We are building someone people come to, someone people wait for, someone whose words land like stone because they are rare. Let people come to you. The psychology behind observation before speaking is called environmental reading, and it is the single biggest differentiator between those who navigate social situations with mastery and those who blunder through them hoping for the best. Information gathered by watching is information gathered for free, without cost, without exposure. It is pure intelligence, starting today. The next time you walk into any room, whether a meeting, a party, a negotiation, give yourself 90 seconds of pure observation before you speak to anyone. Just read the room. You will be astonished by what you see, and the intelligence you gather in those 90 seconds will make every subsequent word you say more effective. The man who watches first and speaks second is never surprised, never ambushed, never outmaneuvered, because he already knows the shape of the room before he enters it. Silence is not waiting. Silence is gathering. Gracian called it reading the situation before writing yourself into it. Your emotions are your most dangerous liability if uncontrolled. Not because feeling is weakness, feeling is human, but because displaying emotion in strategic situations is the equivalent of showing your hand at a poker table. Every reaction you broadcast is data your opponent uses. Gracian called emotional display the greatest confession a man can make. Someone criticizes you publicly. Your face changes. Your voice tightens. Your hands betray you. And in that single second, they own you. Not because their criticism was valid, but because you showed them it landed. You just handed them a remote control connected directly to your emotional state. When you display emotion in response to what others do, you are confirming 2 things. 1, that they have power over your inner state, and 2, that they can reliably produce that reaction again whenever they choose. You are training people in exactly how to control you. Emotional concealment is not suppression, it is sovereignty. Put this in the comments. My face is not a window. My silence is my armor. Because that is your new operating system. Your face is a strategic communication tool, not a broadcast antenna for every internal state. This is what Gracian practiced. This is what power actually looks like on a person. Starting today, when someone says something designed to provoke a reaction, pause 2 seconds before your face does anything. Not a visible pause, an internal one. In those 2 seconds, you choose your expression rather than revealing your reaction. The practice is simple. The impact is total. Your face becomes something you own, not something they operate. The man who controls his face controls the room's perception of reality. In any contest of wills, the first face to move is the one who is losing. This is ancient. This is Gracian. And this is now yours. Reputation is built not from what you say about yourself, but from what you do not need to say. The man who has to announce his power has already lost it. Reputation is a shadow, it moves slightly ahead of you, and it is cast by everything you have silently done. Guard it, Feed it through action, not announcement, and never ever defend it with words alone. Gracian wrote that words are like coins. When currency is scarce, it holds more value. When it is printed endlessly, it becomes worthless. Every word you speak is a coin. The man who speaks rarely spends rare currency. The man who speaks constantly devalues every word he has ever said. Make your words rare. Make them count. Make them feared. Comment. My words are gold. I mint them carefully. Because from this day forward, every word you speak is a deliberate act, not a nervous reflex, not an automatic social filler, a conscious choice made by a man who understands that language is economy. And you are about to start spending wisely. Here is your complete architecture. 1. Speak only what is necessary. 2. Keep your interior private. 3. Let silence work in negotiations. 4. Never explain your decisions beyond a single sentence. 5. Watch before you speak in any new room. 6. Control what your face broadcasts. 6 disciplines. 1 transformation. Begin tomorrow. Begin today. Begin right now, in this moment, by choosing not to comment on what you are thinking. Just decide. The old you is dead. The version of you that gave away power in every conversation, that filled every silence, that explained and justified and overshared, that version died the moment you chose to watch this video to its end. You chose this. That was not passive. That was the first act of the new discipline. You are a weapon, pointed at your own future. Not a weapon of destruction, a weapon of directed force. Every disciplined silence. Every word withheld until it was worth saying. Every moment you chose observation over reaction, those are you, sharpening the blade of your own power. The future you are moving toward cannot be stopped by anyone because they cannot read you. They cannot predict you. They cannot prepare for what they cannot see coming. You belong to no one. Not to the social expectations that trained you to overshare. Not to the relationships that benefited from your transparency. Not to the systems that relied on your predictability. You belong to no one. You serve your own strategic mind. You answer to your own code, and that code, from this moment forward, is Gracian's. Every person who has ever used your words against you, they relied on a version of you that no longer exists. The open target, the legible man, the predictable, readable, exploitable person who made their game easy. That person is gone. You are something else now, something quieter, something more dangerous, something they cannot see until it is already too late. Gracian was punished for this knowledge because it transfers power from institutions to individuals. They do not want you to know this. They never did. But you know it now. And knowledge, once received, cannot be unlearned. This is yours. It was always yours. You just had to come and claim it. Comment this right now. I belong to no one. I am ungovernable. Because that is the declaration of the person who has just made the shift. Not arrogant, not hostile, simply sovereign. A man who has learned to keep his reservoir full. A man who cannot be defeated because he cannot be read. A man of silence. You have 2 kinds of people in your life right now. Those who will use this channel to continue walking the same road they have always walked, and those who are about to fundamentally change how they move through the world. The second group subscribes, not because they are told to, but because they recognize something rare when they find it. This channel exists for one reason: to give you the philosophy that the powerful keep for themselves. Gracian, Machiavelli, Marcus Aurelius, Sun Tzu. The strategists, the stoics, the power architects who understood human nature without illusion. If you are here and you want to continue, then the decision to subscribe is already obvious to you. You do not need to be convinced. If you want more, subscribe. It costs you nothing but the press of a button. and it earns you a front row seat to a completely different education. One that was never meant for you. One that is yours now. The bell is on. The next lesson is already being built, and it is for the person you are becoming, not the person you were, Gracian said. The greatest victory is the one your enemy does not know has been won. That is your life from this day forward. Silent victories. Invisible power. A version of yourself that moves through the world with complete strategic intelligence and complete emotional control. You are already different from the person who pressed play. Keep going. Before you leave, one question, and I want you to sit with it. Do not answer immediately. Let the silence do its work first. Here it is. What is one conversation from your past where staying silent would have changed everything? Leave it in the comments. No names, just the moment.